Well, it's been a while since I made an update on the ScanGauge 3, so it's time for a new one. What I'm going to show you here, I'm going to update from version 1.19. We're going to skip up to version 1.21. There's a couple of really cool updates with this. One main one now is we have the ability to get live engine data on cylinder misfires. So if we happen to have a cylinder misfire, bad spark plug, plug wire, or ignition coil, anything like that, it's going to let us know, and it will tell us what cylinder it is. We don't have to guess or try to track it down. Before, with version 1.19, it would tell us we had a misfire, but it wouldn't tell us where or what cylinder. That's been corrected. Another neat little feature is we now have the ability to know what gear we're in. So if you're, say you're out west and you're pulling a really hard hill and you're downshifting, and it'd be nice to know what gear I'm in. So sometimes, am I in second, am I third, where I'm at? Well, now it will tell you. So let's get to the update. Let's see here. We go here. We go to more. Go to setup. Go to Wi-Fi update. I've already got my Wi-Fi turned on for my phone, or my hotspot is turned on my phone. So that's what we're doing here. So looks like I'm gonna have to update to 1.20 first, then update to 1.21. So let's get that done. I'll pause the video here and let it update. All right, it's coming down. It's coming down. Okay, she's almost done. Okay, now there's 1.20. Okay, now let's try to get to 1.21. Set up advance, Wi-Fi update, check for updates. Connect to my phone, select. Okay, now we're cooking. 1.21. Okay, we're almost done downloading, and it'll get downloaded. We'll reboot, and I'll show you some of the new cool items we're going to have. Restart. Okay, accept. Say no. Try to turn down the brightness. Usually the two fingers drag down. We'll turn the brightness down. There we go. It's there. Looks better on the phone that way. Okay, let's go to more about. Here's our version 1.21. That's where we want to be. Okay, let's go back and go. Let me take you back to the home screen so you know where I go. So like you go to, please go to gauge. No, it's wrong. Messed you up already. So we'll go to more. We got to go to ScanGauge. We want to do a scan, auto scan. Choose General Motors because this is a Workhorse chassis, and start. That's going to get us our new goodies. This ScanGauge 3 just keeps getting better and better. And I'm going to tell you about some settings I've changed on mine since I've been driving with it for a while. I've modified a few settings since my initial setup. You're almost done. Okay, we're going to select all and save. Let's go back. Let's view our list. Okay, and see there's something new is the gear. That wasn't there before, I don't believe. And then we get down here, see cylinder misfire 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 8. That's the new stuff we want. Let's go back to our gauge here. Wrong button. Gauge. Okay, so that's all. That looks kind of normal. Okay, here's what I want to change. I want to add my transmit. I like to know what gear I'm in. And let's find that. It's under ScanGauge, gear, select. See, it says park neutral. Let's see what happens if I change gears. Well, I learned something. We have to have the engine running for it to work, it looks like. In reverse. There we go. That's park or neutral. Oh, we're in first gear because it's always going to start in first gear, no matter where I'm at, even though I was in overdrive. All right. Anyway, we got that. That's a nice feature to have. Let me turn this noisy engine off. No, I know what I'll do. We need to keep it running for a minute. Let's get to the engine misfires. Actually, I can turn it off and set it up first. Okay. So we can hear myself think. All right, so I put this on the page 3 because it's not something I'm watching all the time. So we're going to here with ScanGauges, scroll down, cylinder 1, and select. Do the same thing. Cylinder misfire 2, select. Go down the road here. All right. 4. Trying to get this done as quick as possible. 5. 6. 7. I'm trying these little stylus things make a world of difference. Trying to use your finger all the time. And let's go 8. Oh, that's not 8. There's 8. Select. Now total misfire count. I want to add that. Where's that at? There it is. Total misfire count. Okay. Now I'm going to do a little test. We'll start. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to reach down here and unplug the connector to the ignition coil. Not the spark plug wire, but the small little wire that feeds the signal to the ignition coil. Oh, it went to sleep on me, didn't it? I forgot, didn't have the key on. Alright, so I'm going to reach down and unplug that coil connector. Now, you will get a random misfire. I've noticed that on a cold start. You may get 1 or 2 or 3, depending on how cold it is. Then after about 30 seconds, that should clear and go away. Okay, I'm unplugging the coil. Okay, I've just unplugged it. You can tell it's missing a little bit. See, 71 misfires. Then it should alarm here shortly. There it goes. So if we were driving down the road and you burn a spark plug wire in 2, or plug goes bad or anything else, this net will now let you know and tell you exactly what cylinder it is. And let me get you another piece of paper here so you know what cylinder is what location. Okay, you might want to take a screenshot of this, keep it in your notes, but this will tell you what cylinder its location is. So the one I unplugged was number 7 right here. Of course, it tells us cylinder number 7, 140 misfires. But without this piece of paper, you're not going to know what cylinder 7 is. So if you print that out and save it, handy to have. Alright, so you can see everything's cleared off now. It took care of itself. Now for reference, let me show you what I unplugged. I just reached down here and unplugged this. That's what I did to make my test with. I can hear the alarm already went off. Alright, that's right. So it reacts pretty quick once you unplug that wire. Now there's another test I want to do. I got to thinking about, what if we had an injector failure? Will it pick it up? So let's test that idea. Okay, the engine's still running. Let me dismiss all these. Okay, everything's cleared. Turn my light on so you can see what I'm doing. Alright. Now these little injectors have this weird green clip to get off first. Once you get that off, you got to push down right here and pull that off. So I'm going to kill that one injector. So if I killed that injector, looks like it's working. Yep, so cylinder number 8. Where's my cheat sheet? Yep, so that's cylinder number 8. That's the one I unplugged the injector on. So not only will it detect an ignition misfire, it will also detect a fuel injector problem. If you was to have a clogged fuel injector and it quit firing, or a bad fuel injector, or a wiring problem, a mouse got up in there and chewed your wires in two, you're going to know exactly what cylinder to go to. See, I tell you, it just gets better all the time. Okay, I've shown this before. I'm going to turn this brightness down here. Let me show you. All right, where's that bright light coming from? All right, trying to make it a better camera view for you. Can you see we got an open fault fuel loop? Because that's where I usually monitor open and closed loop. Probably, I'm assuming it did that because I unplugged the fuel injector connector and it surely didn't like that. So it should have set a code. So again, because we got a ScanGauge 3, we can quickly do a scan and clear it. Get back to my home, so let's do a scan. Let me see, nothing. Oh, let's check pending. There it is, P0200. Injector open circuit. All right, what else we got? Ignition coil primary. Okay, because I unplugged the coil too. So that's pretty neat. Because you notice on the engine it did not set an engine light because it's just pending. You know, it's so hard, difficult, it seems like, to get a check engine light on these workhorses. That's why we got to have this stuff to check it ourselves. Let's go back and let's give it a clear. Because remember we had pendings. Let's clear it, clear all. Let's do another pending scan. Nope, all is good. The gauge. All right, new gear, engine load. Okay, some more information I need to update you about is some of my monitor settings. What have I changed on it? Tap your little gear at the bottom. Let me see, I'm gonna go back and show you that. Yeah, there it is. See my pencil right here in the very bottom. Sometimes people have a hard time finding where the monitors are. That little gear right there in the bottom right hand corner, hit that gear. Display, layout, monitors. That's where we set our temperature limit. So you see, you know, to recap, I got mine set. If it goes over 220, I want to know about it. Let's go back. Trans temp. If it goes over 200, I want an alarm to go off. And go back here. Here's something I've changed after I drove it for a while. My long-term fuel trims, I bumped them up to 12. Because what I was finding out, I may have had it initially like at 10 or something. But I noticed I drive a lot with cruise control, and I noticed as I'm going down the road with cruise control, even though my fuel trims are normally running 4 or 5, when I top a hill and it goes kind of in the coast and it throttles back, it'll briefly spike, just for a split second. It'll spike up to 11 or 12 possibly, and would set off my alarm. So that was annoying me. So I raised it up to 12. So I don't get those annoying alarms anymore. Another alarm I would be getting is, well, get back here, my total misfire count. I bumped it up to 5. Like I told you, sometimes on a cold start, remember, and you remember these settings, you got above, equals, or below. So like most of the settings are above, except for your oil pressure, you got to set it for below. So if I get more than 5, I want to know about it. If it's a cold start and I have 4 or 5, I don't care. That's going to be considered normal. And let's go oil pressure, and I changed it to 10. That seems to work good for me. I think our light, the dash light on the Workhorse chassis on the cluster doesn't come on until you get like below 3 psi. So, but like I mentioned in if I posted this video yet or not, but there's our oil lines. Sometimes if they come loose, there's a plastic clips can break, and that oil line will rub on the engine mounting bolt, rub a hole in it, and you'll pump your engine oil out. And with this handy gauge, that'll set that alarm off, and you'll know about it. Okay, something else I need to talk to you about is, let me see, go back to more, go back to setup, is our update rate. Looks like normal works. I noticed this, and I'm assuming there'll be a fix for it shortly. But in version 1.19, you could set it at slow, and everything would work just fine. But once you get a version past version 1.19, 1.20, or 2.1, I noticed if you have it on the slow setting, you will lose a couple of gauges. Usually you'll lose your voltage, you'll lose your timing gauge, and you'll lose your MAP, M-A-P, or manifold pressure. Maybe I think it's called barometric pressure. It would not show up, or it would just freeze. So probably would not. I wouldn't recommend fast. So I'd recommend probably on normal. Maybe in a later update, if that gets resolved, I will let you know. Okay, so while editing this video, we have got a fix now about when it comes down to the slow update rate, where our timing would not work, and then what was the other one? Our manifold pressure reading wouldn't display, it would just freeze. So that has been fixed. And you may notice when I do updates, Wi-Fi updates, I'll have different versions maybe than you do because I'm a beta tester. So sometimes they'll push out to me some new updates just for me to test to make sure they're doing their thing and working. So it has been fixed. So I'm assuming in the next update, the next public update, which will probably be a 1.22, that will be solved. So you can, if you want to run slow update rate, you can, and everything should work. I just wanted to put that out there for you. So all right, back to the show. And because they're always making changes. Okay, let's fire it up and just run through our numbers here, see how things look. Okay. See, we're open loop. It'll take it just a second. It should go closed because we're over 121 degrees. There she went, closed loop. All right, so now that it'll start monitoring our fuel trims. There we go. Our fuel trims are doing their job now. It's kind of all freaked out, I think, there for a minute where I had everything all unplugged. All right, what else we got here? We've got our mass airflow. It's our manifold pressure. See how these both zero at first, and then they started coming up? That's because I had it probably set it slow. If I had it set it slow, it won't pick up these two settings. Put it on normal, it picks them up. And everything else seems to work just fine. So see, all of our misfires have gone away now. A really great tool to have. If you own a Workhorse chassis, you don't want to leave home without this tool. It's just too powerful. Of course, I talked about earlier in my earlier videos about how important it is to watch these fuel trims. Remember, we max out at 25. If you see your long-term fuel trims hit 25, that means the computer can't give no more. You're out. You're running lean, dangerously lean. So if you start, and people that has bank systems, they will normally run around 15 or so, and that's just normal because a bank system flows more air. But if you got a stock system, normally 10 or below would be considered normal. I had the key off, didn't I? Went to sleep on me. get it woke back up. You know, but just keep that in mind. Our most important numbers to watch is these fuel trims. Go back. Long terms, short terms not so much because they're bouncing all over the place. But specifically these long-term trims, if you start seeing them pushing up 20, you need to stop and see what the problem is. You know, if you've got an exhaust leak, heaven forbid, you may have an intake manifold gasket leaking. I'm afraid that might happen to us as these engines age. That'll be a little bit more involved, changing the intake gasket. But if anyone has done that project, I'd like to know how it went. Give me some details about it. Okay, and just to point out to you, the manifold pressure, I think it's MAP, mass. No, it's not, because you got your mass airflow here, which is there behind the air filter, your mass airflow sensor. But your manifold pressure sensor is right on top of the intake manifold. And that's also the same as kind of like the barometric pressure. Kind of tells the engine what your elevation is, so it knows how to set the fuel on timing and stuff. Like when you climb a big mountain, it needs to know about that when you get to high altitude. Oh, and I wanted to point out, this is the MAP sensor, MAP, that tells the computer your barometric pressure and your altitude. Well, while sitting here playing with these numbers, I just noticed a little something is not right. My oil pressure is not dropping to 0. I'm assuming it should drop to 0. Key is on, engine off. I should not have 12 psi. So I'll bring that up to them. And let's see what's going on with that. That's a little bit odd. Yeah, there's an oil psi. That should be 0 right now, not 12. All right, I'll let them know about that. Maybe they can get that corrected in the next update. So while I was editing this video, you know, we come across this issue with the oil pressure kind of freezing, not monitoring below 12 psi. So I thought, well, that could be an issue for us possibly if like I have mine sitting now at 10. I think I'm going to bump it up to maybe 14. I was looking at my notes. The lowest oil pressure I've ever recorded at idle, I think, is 18 psi. So if I happen to be driving down the road and I lost an oil line or something like that and dropped total oil pressure, then I know once I fall below 14 psi, I will get an alarm. So I think I'll bump that up just to cover my bases. Of course, even, you know, our engine itself, if we lose all oil, we do have an oil light also will come on the dash. So that is another backup. So in case it ever happens. So I'll insert this little note inside the main video. All in all, everything is working great. Love my new toy. Hope you're liking yours. Anyways, I guess that'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a blessed night. See you, bye.